And today we're going to do something a little bit different than we normally do. We normally work on some Apex or LWC code. Today we're going to be working on building an extension pack for Visual Studio Code. And we're going to be walking through the tools that various other extensions provide you as a developer to make you a better developer. I remember reading about this old college. It's like a 14th century college in the UK. And their sort of motto or logo is "Manners maketh men," and I've always been intrigued by that phrase. And sort of the corollary for developers, I think, is manners or tools make the developer. I'm seeing a little bit of an issue with chat, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bounce over here to the back, which will hopefully reload the chat. And so we can see people joining us today. I'm looking over at my monitor over here, away from the camera. It's maybe loading. We'll let it do its thing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to start by creating a brand new Visual Studio Code extension pack. And to do that, I've installed the Yeoman builder. If you're not familiar with Yeoman, Yeoman provides a yo command, and then it gives you all sorts of different builders, and they sort of bootstrap a project for you. I don't know of one for Salesforce, but it's sort of like if you run SFDX Force Project Create. So what we're going to do is I'm going to run yo code, and when I run yo code here, it'll come back, it'll ask me what kind of thing I want to do. I can do extensions, which I've done before. I've done a theme. So if you've ever used Cody's Embed by 10, that's how I created it. And I'm going to go down here and say new extension pack. And, oh, hey, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to, what's the name of my extension? My extension is CodeFriars, CodeFriars Way, CodeFriars Opinion, CodeFriars. Let's see, what can we do for the name? Let's do this. I'm gonna launch my other chat stream so I can see the chat, because apparently it's not working real well here. All right, let's do CodeFriars pack. Yeah, we'll do CodeFriars pack. That's fine. It sort of kebab cased it for me. The description of it: this extension pack sets up developers to use VS Code just like CodeFriar does, complete with language, tools, and extensions for building for rapidly. We'll make it sound flowery. Rapidly building Salesforce, we'll capitalize Salesforce applications and code. Yeah, there you go. Initialize Git repository, of course. And so you'll notice that when I answered all those questions, one of the things it did is it created this directory for me. So CodeFriars pack there. You'll see that I'm in my root directory, my home folder directory. And so I'm going to move CodeFriars pack to source, because that's where I keep everything. So we'll go into source, cd source, and now we'll go into CodeFriars pack like that. And I'm going to list the directories here. Now you'll see that I don't have a lot going on. In fact, I've got very little going on. So one of the things that I'm going to do here is, first off, I'm going to fix my screen set up here. So launch that. Maybe. Okay. Yeah, that'll do it. Let me choose this device. Now I can see what I'm doing when I'm sharing my screen with y'all. Maybe. Restoring Windows. It did not restore the one I needed it to. Okay, this is how you know it's live. Nothing works quite like I thought it was. Right before I started all this, I had to restart my computer on a somewhat emergency basis, and I think that's what's causing ye old issue. Okay, so Let me. I got to work backwards here as I resize this window in my teleprompter. Nope. Nope. Awesome. Look up at the sky. There we go. All right, so you can see my screen. I can see my screen. Now we're doing good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this directory. So I'm going to say over here on my little Visual Studio Code, I'm going to open the folder. And I'm going to go into source, CodeFriars pack, and I'm just going to open that. It's going to refresh my screen, do a little bit of thinking here. Now, you'll see that I've got a whole bunch of unstaged things. I'm just going to go add all these and mark it as my initial commit. Commit. Boring commit change there. All right, now I'm going to go back to my extensions here, and most of this is going to be in this package.json. So what I got to do and come in here, and I've got to fill out some of this information, and I don't remember all the little things I have to fill out here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open an individual file, and I'm going to go to one that I've already done, which is for Cody's Embed by 10, and I'm going to open up that package.json. And you'll see that some of this stuff is I got to get the publisher, the icon. Let me copy that over. So we'll put this over here. Under categories, we'll do publisher, and publisher is not Salesforce, it's CodeFriar. Now, if you haven't heard the news, Cody's Embed by 10 was recently adopted by Salesforce, and so now it's published by Salesforce. Trailhead Live is down, it says. Somebody's hitting me up on Telegram, letting me know that Trailhead Live is down. Is it down? Are we down? I'm hearing I'm hearing from people that Trailhead Live is down. Confirm? Okay, so I've got the description in there. I've put the CodeFriar. Now I have to put an icon in place here. Now, just for grins and giggles, let's go look at my my structure of the project for Cody's Embed by 10. So if I go to Cody's Embed by 10 here, you'll see just in the root of it, I've got apex.png. I'm going to copy that because I don't know that I've got a better one yet for it. So we're just going to put that in place for right now. Now we can see that when you load up this, it just shows a little bit of a code example. And then down here, we've got extension pack, extensions, and what we need to do is we need to populate this extension pack array with actual like little bits there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull open my this here, and you'll see that I've got the Cody's Embed by 10 theme pulled up in the marketplace. Now I just published this, so it's not quite showing up when I search inside Visual Studio Code. But what I want to show you is that down here is this unique identifier. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that unique identifier. Here we go. And I'll put that here in my extension pack. Okay, and that is how I've included Cody's Embed by 10 in my extension pack. So now if you were to install CodeFriars pack, you'll automatically pull Cody's Embed by 10. Somebody's saying it's working fine, so I'm going to go with YouTube or Salesforce Live is not down. And got some people from all over asking questions. I'm going to take a sip here while I answer this first question from Ashish. What is CodeFriar? Define your handle or name. It's a great question. So friar is a name, not quite synonymous, but it's a similar term to a monk, like a religious monk. Friars were a special type of monk who they would go out into the, instead of being in a monastery, they would go live out in the community, and they're somewhat famous because the Dominican friars of the Middle Ages became sort of the first public school teachers. And so I have a relationship to that in that my actual degree and background is in theology. So the idea of being a teacher is kind of what I do, and I teach code. So Code Fryer. It's also like ultra nerdy reference to my past type thing. So I got Cody's in bed by 10, and then what I want to do is I want to go over here to the extensions, and this is what one of the things I want to walk through here is these icons over here on the left, because they are really powerful at times. And I'm going to go into this. Now I can search for anything here in the extension. So if I really wanted like a Python plugin, I could search for Python and find all sorts of things related to Python here, but I don't actually use Python. I don't like snakes. So I'm going to search for, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit a tag, I'm going to hit @ and then I'm going to type in installed. And this is going to give us a list of all the extensions I currently have installed. So if I click on one of these, it's going to show you that I have Apex installed, which is great. But I don't want to install Apex, I want the extension pack. So what I'll do is pack, search for the pack, and here's the Salesforce extension pack. And you'll see that this is where I can, when I'm in Visual Studio Code, this is where I get my unique identifier. So I'll go back to my packages and I'm going to add, excuse me, wrong package, this one. I'm going to add the Visual Studio Code extension pack for Salesforce. And then now that I've covered that one, I'm going to choose, just looking at my installed one, I'm going to go through, I'm going to build out the rest of my extension pack with other extensions that I use. Let's see, I've got some questions here. Would love to have some sessions on CD/CI with Visual Studio Code, SFDX, Docker, making and publish image. Reason for Docker is that it can be used in more places and not need to initiate everything after install SFDX, CLI, so forth. Nice to see and get more takes on good implementations. There's a lot to unpack there, Triopticon, and I'm happy to talk to you about it. Maybe we could break that up into 2 or more different sessions. I'm happy to, if you want to hit me up on Twitter at @CodeFryer, we can arrange a talk and maybe ferret out exactly what it is you're wanting to see implementations of, and then maybe you can join me and we can work on it on a Code Live. I think that'd be fun. Love doing some CI and CD work. But for right now, let's go back to building our extension pack, and I've installed all the ones from Salesforce that are Apex related, but here I've got this one here, this Apex Code Coverage Visualizer. Now I'm gonna just highlight this a little bit because what it does is actually really cool. It gives you a way to visualize your code coverage inside your Visual Studio Code. So let's see them open this here, and so you get this great framework for viewing. Okay, I'm missing, coverage on that and on this. Gives you green, yellow, red. I really appreciate it. I use it all the time. So I'm going to grab its custom unique identifier, and I'm going to add it and do this. Okay, and then let's just go down through the list. The interactive developer, that's from Salesforce, got that. Java doc, stubs a Java doc comment. You'll see me using this in Visual Studio Code all the time, where I hit /** and hit tab, and it's going to go and give me actual comment blocks that I can fill out, but it auto-populates the exact same things every time, so I don't forget what to put in there. So I like this one. I'm going to put it in there as well. Package JSON. Boop, boop. Oh. And let's go here and do the log analyzer from Financial Force. If you've not played with this, this is super powerful. Tell you what, if I get a chance here, when we get this extension pack built, I'll demonstrate how the log analyzer works. We'll just have a little bonus opportunity there. Triopticon is saying thumbs up to maybe talking and hooking up on dealing with some CI/CD. So we'll have that discussion. One of the things you might see me use all the time is PMD. PMD, I honestly don't know what PMD stands for, but what it is it's a static code analysis tool. And so it's going to give you in the problems tab of your code editor, it's going to tell you, what's going wrong with this, what's not best practices. And it shows up down here, tells you what's going on, validate permissions for SOCL or DML, that kind of thing you've seen all the time. This is an invaluable tool for writing Salesforce code well. And so I'm going to put it in my pack. Oop. I swear I can type. Okay, let's see here. The replay debugger comes from Salesforce. or components, Azure account. So if you want to create an extension pack or an extension or a theme for Visual Studio Code, you have to have an Azure account. So that's why I have that one there. Better comments. This one's kind of nice. It allows you to get sort of like color-coded highlights for things that you need to do. So if you want to mark something as important, you can put a star in front of it. If you want to mark it as a to-do, you can mark it to-do caps. So we'll put this one in. Big fan of intelligent comments. Okay. And then let's see, bracket pair colorizer 2. I get a lot of questions on how I do this, and this is the extension I do. The bracket pair colorizer, there's two of them out there. There's bracket pair colorizer, and then there's bracket pair colorizer 2. Trust me, you want 2. It's far more performant. So you want to use bracket pair colorizer 2. That's the one I'm going to put in my CodeFriars pack. And somebody said, so many people are talking about how PMD, nobody knows what PMD stands for. And then somebody says they Googled it and found that it stands for Programming Mistake Detector, which is hilarious and right, spot on. I can't agree more with that. So we'll go with nobody knows what it stands for, but it might be Programming Mistake Detector. Bracket pair colorizer, back to this, highlights with specific colors the opening and closing brackets that match. So if you look here on this first line, I've got a purple bracket, and then I've got on line 27 down here, I've got a closing bracket. But if you look internally, indented one, you'll see that I've got a curly bracket here that's blue, and then the closing one down here is blue. This is fantastic for identifying where you might have a scope issue and for figuring out why you're getting a syntax error. And like if you do a bunch of refactoring and then all of a sudden it won't compile because you're missing at the end of the class a bracket, you generally don't want it at the end of the class. You generally missed it somewhere else. And this bracket pair colorizer really helps me pick up on that. I'm very color and visual oriented, so your mileage may vary, but I love this. You can set your own colors here. I've left them at the default and incorporated some of the colors and the color ideas into Cody's Embed by 10. So let's put this one in. Okay, and we'll do this. Okay, going through here, browser preview. Browser preview is really cool. It allows you to open up a browser window directly in your Visual Studio Code editor, and then you can go to any URL there. What I tend to use it for is when I am working on LWC. We've got the offline sort of disconnected LWC graphic experience, but I find this to be more enjoyable, for lack of a better term. I am also working on incorporating some commands in an extension that will let you say force org open default in VS Code. So if you did open default org in VS Code, I want it to open up in this browser preview window. So foreshadowing, that's coming from me. But I like this a lot. I'm going to go put this in my extension pack. Curious to see if anybody's got a favorite one that they've discovered me talking about so far. Am I missing any? Do you think you have to have this one, Kevin? We'll look at that. Turns out I can't spell to save my life, so I put the spell checker in. Now the spell checker, this may drive you a little nutty, and I'll show you why here in a second when we switch over to using this in an org. But it can be very helpful if you're like me and not able to spell to save your life. Let's see here. Debugger for Chrome, these are built in. And let's see, we don't need .env, ERB. I've got some Ruby stuff in here that I'm not going to include because this is for Salesforce development, not Ruby. Let's see here. Git history, git config syntax is helpful. So I'm going to put this one in here because you are using some sort of version control, correct? I don't care which one you use. Actually, I do. Don't use CVS. Use Git, maybe Mercurial, something along those lines. I really love this one. This is so great. GitHub Visual Studio Code plugins pull requests. It's marked as in preview, but it is super fantastic, and I will demonstrate that one as well. Okay, and give me a comma. Still going through here. Git ignore is helpful. Again, if you're using Git, I'm going to assume you're using Git because you're awesome. And let's see here. HTML, indent rainbow. I like this one a lot too. You'll see that it's hard to tell with the color scheme that they've listed here, but it gives you indent indicators that are sort of highlighted color stripes. They're semi-translucent, so they don't get terribly in the way, but it makes it easier to make sure you're lining things up. I am a huge fan of it. We'll put that one in there. We're just ripping along on this. Let's see here. Coverage visualizer, I think, would be a lifesaver. Was not aware of this. That's, yep. The Git extension pack. I'll look at that here in just a second. I also use Indenticator. Indenticator gives you a solid line. So I combine the indent rainbow and Indenticator so that I see where I'm at in two ways, both that solid line when I'm in that scope, and that also helps me identify the scope that I'm in, and also the indent rainbow. So I use both of them. Put that in there. And let's see. One of the things that I like to do is use this live share plugin. Now this requires you to have a GitHub or Visual Studio, or GitHub or what do you call it, Azure login, but it allows you to do remote pair programming. And this is what we use actually whenever we have a guest. In order for us to both be able to type in the editor window, we're actually in the background using a live share session. So I'll open up a live share session, I'll pass the URL and tokens and everything to my guest. They will then join me and we can both type away on the same thing. I see what they're typing, they see what I'm typing, and because I'm broadcasting my screen, y'all see what we're both typing. It's a big fan of that one. Let's see here. Moderator Sarah has a question from Oldatan. Hello from Nigeria. What is the motive for putting the extensions inside the package JSON? That's just where you have to put them in order to build an extension pack for the Visual Studio Code's marketplace. They just go in this extension pack array as you build it. There's not a, I mean, the only reason is to do it because that's the way I have to, I guess. So we put live share in there. I like to use these material icons. This is just the icons that show up for various languages. You'll notice there's not one for Salesforce. I think I have a pull request out with them for that. It's not there yet though. But I enjoy, these are the icons I like to use. So it's my theme extension pack, so I'm going to put it in there. And let's see. Plant UML, this is handy. Plant UML lets you use ASCII. This is going to give me an example. Yeah, here we go. It lets you use some markdown style syntax, and then you create it, and then you can generate these diagrams right there within Visual Studio Code. Because they're all text-based, that goes straight into Git, no big deal. It's an easy way to keep entity relation diagrams, that sort of thing, all up to date inside your org. I'm a big fan. I want to actually create like a community-driven ERD diagram in Plant UML repository somewhere, but I haven't yet found the time to do that. So we'll put Plant UML in there. Pola code. If you've ever seen me post something on the Twitters that is a snap of code, it came from Pola code. I'm a big fan. This lets you take a snapshot of your code using current theme and all that sort of stuff. It makes it work perfectly with your font, the way you want it to look, and then you can turn around and tweet that image or save it. Or in a couple of cases, I'm so proud of the code I've written that I went and I like put it on like a metal plate from Allgreens. It's on my wall back there. Can't see it. So Pola code, good stuff. Put that in my extension pack. Whoop. Okay, we can see if we got anything. Uh, Question from Orlando. Both people need those GitHub or Azure credentials for live share. Every single person has to have who's going to participate has to have their own GitHub login or Azure login. Whoever's hosting it then turns around and ends up passing a URL around to the people who are going to join. Everyone has to sort of log into live share using one of those two authentication providers before you can join a session. You can join if you want to read only, but where's the fun in read only code editing pair programming? Coverage visualizer. Somebody's saying think it would be a lifesaver. Yep. Somebody's asking tab 9. Yeah, I haven't gotten down to tab 9, but tab 9 is definitely going in there. As is Prettier. Some people really hate Prettier, and I don't know why. I have my things that I don't like about Prettier, but in general, I love Prettier. I wish it defaulted to a wider than 80 character line length, but you know, whatever. I'll play along nicely with everybody else. Love that. Let's see, the containers are built in. Remote SSH, I like that. So if you've never done this before, Remote SSH allows you to attach your Visual Studio Code screen to a remote server, and that remote server runs all of your plugins and everything else like that. So if you have a older laptop or machine and you are wanting to use Visual Studio Code, but it's really struggling, one of the things you can do is you can offload that to a remote SSH server. And so long as it runs a relatively recent version of Linux, you can install your plugins there, and this remote SSH plugin for Visual Studio Code takes care of connecting all of your ports and all of the extensions. It's magnifique. I just badly mispronounced that, but it's awesome, and everyone should investigate it. The other thing it's great for is if you wanted to, you can hook it up to like a Docker container, and then you don't have to worry about maintaining. You can fire up Docker containers for every environment you need. You can have a Docker container for this environment and then one for this project. It's especially helpful if you are, say, a contractor or a consultant who's working on multiple projects. You can literally switch your entire environment right down to what plugins installed, themes, etc., all by switching to that Docker container or to that SSH server. So I'm a big fan of that. And Drew's saying he finally gave in and started using Prettier. Yes, Prettier has got an override for the width, but it doesn't. People get twitchy about overriding parts of Prettier, because the whole thing about Prettier is convention, no configuration. And then Extreme Faith is like, thought this was supposed to be a session about let's build a factory. There's a little bit, I think, of a mismatch on the naming, because that one was actually last week. But if you go into Trailhead Live, you can find the recording of it and see that. Today we're working on building a Visual Studio Code extension pack. We're lovingly calling it Code Friars Pack, and because it has all the stuff that I use. And so if you want to be, a developer and use all the tools that I do, this is your way to get immediately set up with one click, as it were. So let's go through here, see if we've got anything else. I did the remote SSH. This one also is handy because it allows you to persist your remote SSH connection strings. So we'll put this one in here. And then is this? Yeah, remote containers is what you use if you want to connect to a Docker container. So we'll copy that one in there. Okay. So we've got remote SSH, different machine. Got remote containers. Those containers can be anywhere so long as you can connect to the Docker socket. And then we've got the remote SSH edit, which stores your configuration. Let's go through here. We don't need the Ruby ones. All the Ruby ones that I have. The CLI integration is part of the extension pack. And so, we've got this expanded one. I'm going to use that instead, because that's going to give us a couple other things that you might not think about, like XML and ESLint and Prettier. So we're just going to switch to that one. So up here, I'm going to replace this with expanded. Okay. Then there's this log analyzer, and This one I've installed, but I don't know actually what it does. We'll have to look at that. Sockle comes, and then we have tab 9 autocomplete. This is fantastic. Where is my... I'm going to have to pull this one from the web. So what I can do is I can scroll down here and get my unique identifier, because it wasn't showing up in Visual Studio Code because the title's too long. Okay. Put this back over here. And we'll put that there. Let's see, Visualforce we get Red Hat we'll get the XML from Red Hat and YAML. I think that's good. I've also got the SLDS validator. I have that one disabled for some reason, but I don't remember why. I think it comes in the extension pack. Let's look. SLDS validator. Okay, that one's already in there. So you don't need to add that. Let's look at, just double check to make sure I didn't miss anything. Apex we're going to get. Code Visualizer we got. Java Docs. Let's see. Anybody else have one they want to throw out as one we should install? Somebody says Prettier is too opinionated, too little config, but learn to live with it. Yeah. Yeah, again, that whole line length thing. I feel like it's hard to say hello in Apex without getting past 80 characters, but you know, learn to live with it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this file. Okay. I've set the publisher, I've set the icon, I've put my category in, I've given a description. You'll notice that I got this version number here. It auto-created that for me. And I'm going to go in here, and what we're going to do is I'm going to open up the command line terminal. And I've made it pretty much the rest of the screen, because right now we don't need anything else for this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do VSCE publish, and I'm going to hit enter. Make sure to edit the README before you package or publish your extension. You know what? Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go over and we'll edit the README. README. What shall we say? Welcome to CodeFriars Pack. That there. Welcome to CodeFriars Pack. We'll make this as human readable. We don't need the kebab case or the quotes. I am going to do that. Okay, we're going to do this, and we're going to say this extension. What is this? What is TIS? What is this? This extension pack contains a laundry list of highly opinionated extension selections by @CodeFryer. Kevin Portman. Salesforce developers who wish to bootstrap their visual, we'll do, capitalize that, VS Code environment for productive, rapid Salesforce development should install this. Okay. Okay, and then we'll do what's included. Batteries included. And we'll do requirements. Now, our package JSON is going to specify that we need VS Code greater than 152. So we'll put that in there. What's included, we'll do requirements. We'll say VS Code greater than or equal to 1.52. I think it was 1.52, right? 1.52.0. We'll do another one here where we say you need Java 11 working, installed and working. And we need that because the Salesforce extension pack uses Java, so that one sort of we're inheriting. A desire to be awesome. Not that I'm opinionated or anything. Let's see here. Anybody else have any comments? We see two lines in your Visual Studio Code on the right side. What is that? Two lines. This is my. I have the Git Lens plugin shows me what is new and what is edited, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing what's net new and what is edited. The SFDX CLI. Oh, that's true. We're going to need that. Working install of the SFDX CLI. Good. All right, now let's go get our package JSON. And we're going to copy pasta. And we're going to put in what's included here. And I'm just going to clean this up a bit. Now, one of the features that I really like about Visual Studio Code that sort of escapes some people at first blush, because it's not the easiest thing to use in Visual Studio Code, but get that all over there. What I can do is I can go up to Edit and Selection, and I can choose to switch to column selection mode. And now when I highlight, it's going to highlight the column, not multiple characters in the line. So what I can do here is I can say, let's just delete this, and we'll put in a parenthesis. Nope. Put a parenthesis there. Back over this, and you see I'm very quickly putting these in parentheses. And then what I can do is, now that I've edited that, I can just go back over here and do something similar. Actually, this is going to be Markdown, and so what I needed to do that backwards, but okay, let's do this. I'm going to undo, and is it that way? Or am I forgetting how to write Markdown? Markdown, link, syntax, basic syntax, Markdown guide. Let's do links. Favorite search engine is the name of the link, and then I had it right. Okay, what I'm going to do here, though, is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get this, because that is my prefix for all my URLs. And so I'm going to do this, boom, boom, boom. And now we got a link. That's pretty quick. I love that column editing. Love how quickly that lets me edit vast numbers of things here. And then I'm going to save this real quick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another one here. And I'm going to do an unordered list. All right, so now all I need to do is go in here and edit my individual lines to show you what they are. I'm going to turn off column select mode, and we'll just go down through these. This is Cody's embed by 10 theme, and then over here this one is Salesforce extension pack expanded. Okay, now because this is Markdown, I can also just make sure I'm doing this right. Open preview to the side. All right, look at that. Now I'm starting to get, these are links, they work. I can see that it is linking me to the right place. I'm feeling good about this. I'm going to close this preview so I can see what I'm doing. We just got to name these. So code coverage visualizer. And this is going to be Apex Java doc. And this is Financial Forces Log Analyzer. It's Apex Log Analyzer. If I can spell analyzer. There we go. This is Apex PMD. And this one is Better Comments. And then we're going to go to bracket pair colorizer 2. Browser preview in VS Code. And we'll have spell checker. And this is git config. And GitHub pull requests. And go back up here. And this one is git ignore. See if you've got anybody saying anything here. Rainbow CSV when working with data exports. That's true. Mario's got a question. Greetings from Mexico City. Would it work with Zulu 11? Mario, I don't know what Zulu 11 is, but if you would like to let us know in the chat, I'm happy to find out. You know, we can Google Zulu 11. Let's see what this is. Looks like a Java. And the answer to that question is I am not sure. I use the adopt OpenJDK binaries. So I don't know that it'll work with Zulu 11. Sorry. Let's see. This one's indent Rainbow. And this one is Indenticator. I love these names. Indenticator. This one's live share. Material icon theme. Plant UML. Polacode. Prettier. Mode SSH. And we'll do remote SSH edit. This is remote containers. And this last one is tab 9. Now, at some point later in life, I may go through here and like annotate what each of these things are. But for right now, let's just preview this, make sure it looks good. All right, so we've got what's included. I don't want that period there, that's bothering me. Get rid of that. And then down here, requirements. For more information, I'm going to drop that bit out. I'll leave the enjoy in place. I think that's a good README. I've got some commits to do here, so I'm going to commit all of those. Added packages to package JSON. Added apex.png. Edited readme. .md. Okay. And so I don't know that I've got a git branch or a git. Let's do this. Git remote list. Move set head pro. Okay. I'm going to do this. Cat git config. And this is going to tell me that I don't have a remote set up. So let's go ahead and set up a remote for that. GitHub. Okay, and I'm going to create a new repository. Template, none of those. This is going to be Cody's pack, CodeFriars pack. We'll make it match. This is public, and I don't want to initialize it with any of that. Do I have a license file? Do I have a license file? Change log. Nope. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a license, and we're going to do Creative Commons. What did I do the other one for? Is it MIT? Let me look. So we're going to open this, and we're going to look at my other extension. I never remember which license to use. License. We'll open that one. Creative Commons Legal. Okay, well, I'm going to just create a new file, paste that there, save it. We'll put this one in as license. Save. Fine. I don't want a license then because I'm going to push it. Create repository. Well, it does its thing. Let's commit that. Boom. Adding license. And then now we will have our, yeah, we'll just do this. Copy all three of those. Back over here. Boom. The extension GitHub wants to sign in using GitHub. Yes, you can sign in using GitHub. Thank you. Open. Open. Okay. All right. So I've got CodeFriar. Oh, what? What is that actually? Why do I have two there? Oh, because I have those two things open. That's why. All right. So we got that there. Got the license. Got the README. Got the package JSON. We're going to make this smaller again. And let's try that whole publish thing again. We'll do VSCE publish. The repositories field. No. I'll fix that. I need a repository field. So once again, let's open what we already had that we know works to verify that we're putting it in the right spot. Package. Repository. Okay. So we'll put that over here. And cat get config. Here's my repository. I'm going to just copy that. And I don't want to open it. Go away. I must have clicked on the wrong thing. Roar. I want to copy this up here. There we go. CodeFriars pack. Why does it doesn't? You know what? Spell checker. You should learn my name. Command period. Add CodeFriar to the user dictionary. Much better. Okay. Clear that out. Let's try this again. VSCE publish. All right. So it has been published, and in a few minutes it'll be available for it. In the meantime, let's look at Mario is saying Zulu 11 is an alternative to Oracle Java as JDK. Again, I don't know. You'd have to test it. I use adopt open JDK. So if you search for adopt open JDK. And as for why I use adopt open JDK, my IT department told me to. So your mileage may vary. Your IT department may want you to use Zulu 11. I can't speak to whether or not it works because I've been told to use this one. I don't have a better reason for it. I'm sorry. Let's see here. Other questions. from the file structure, I can see the project does not look like an SFDX project. What project type is this? And how can others use this pack? Well, this is not an SFDX project. It is actually just that it is a project for building a Salesforce, a Visual Studio Code extension pack. So added repository. Let me just put that there. And then I'm going to push this to my remote so you can get a hold of this. You'll see here that our extension URL is going to be here, and it's not there yet. It's not published yet. And what happens is when you run this VSCE publish command, it takes it, it packages everything up, it uploads it to the marketplace, and then there's a queue that it goes through. And I'm assuming they're making sure that I'm not doing anything nefarious or mean, and then they're going to publish it for me. And what they do is they send you an email to tell you that it's been published. What I can do is I can put in the chat that this is where it will be when it is ready to go. So let's pull this URL. I'll put this in the chat here. And as soon as it's available, that's where it will show up. Now, I don't control how long it will take there. Generally, I've found that if it's already published, it takes 5 minutes for it to show up, like if you put a new version out. I've just also discovered that when you first start publishing it, that very first time, it can take like 15 to 20 minutes. And obviously we don't have enough time to wait for that, which is why I posted that URL in the chat. So you can go in and download this, set yourself up to do it. Again, you've got that little bit of work you'll have to do to get into like meeting the Java requirement, that sort of thing. But let's pull it up on GitHub. CodeFryer pack. And here's our extension. And we can just, if we wanted to, we could choose, make sure all these work. Like click on that. Here we are in the live share plugin. So I'm feeling good about this. We got a good README, got the requirements, little snark. Yeah, I think this is good. There's our PNG. I think that's going to work just fine. You know what? I copied that. Let's verify. Oh no, it's just going to pull it from right there. Okay. I like it. Feeling pretty good about this. We've got 8 minutes left. I want to make sure that we have anybody has any questions, comments, sign remarks. Now's a great time to bring them up. Lafexlos says, the last line of the extension doesn't have a comma, so you've deleted an extra E at the end from it probably. The last line of the extension, CodeFryer's pattern. Extension, I'm not entirely sure what you mean. I'm sure I've typed it. I'm sure you're right. I just am not sure where Lafexlos. I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name. But let's look at it here. The last line of extension didn't have a comma. The last line of the extension doesn't have a comma. You're right. I don't think I need one there. We'll find out. Let's see if it's showing up yet. We still getting a 404? Nope, here it is, CodeFryer's pack. Now you can all go and install this, and you've got all this stuff here. Now, I'm going to show off a little bit about this. I'm going to show off how the remote works. I've set mine up, and I've got a Docker container that I run on another machine that I can SSH into. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect this current thing to a host. I've already saved it as dev local. You'll see it reload. Now right now it's connecting over to my dev machine, and I can open up a folder for a project, and I'm going to pull open, this is the VTO, volunteer time off, the group I volunteer with, a group called Pets for Patriots. It's an Apex project, and I can look at the extensions that are installed here, and it'll show me which ones are installed locally, but more importantly, it'll show me which ones are installed remotely. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to search for CodeFryer's pack, and this may not be quite there yet. I wonder if we have the command line installation. If I do this, continue. Oh, can I open? It'll do it from a link, maybe. No, I'm sad that you're not CodeFryer. Let's just search for CodeFryer. CodeFriars pack. Look at that. Install. And you'll see that it's installing. And if you caught it real quick there, it said it where it was installing, and it's all on the dev machine. So as we get through there to do this, okay, that's fine. I think some of them, like the live share and the remote stuff, has to be installed locally, but you'll see that it's going to go ahead and install the rest of these on my remote server. It's already done, and so now what I can do is I can choose my theme. Let's do this. Theme. And I'm going to do text editor and where is it? Appearance. So here's my workbench theme, Cody's Embed by 10, and I've also got Cody's Embed by 10 down here. This is the one that came from the code, the extension pack, and so you're not noticing a big change because it was from that to that, but there you go. That's how you got it. And we've installed the extension pack. You can go install it too, and I think it'll be good. Let me see if I can't see if it cut off. Chat link cut off the end of the URL. Does it still work? Like if you click on it? Well, okay. Let me do this. I'm going to take off the HTTPS at the front, and we'll try that. That cut it off too. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tweet it, right? And we can do it that way. So let me pull open my Twitters. Where is my Twitters? My Twitters disappeared. Here we go. Check out the new CodeFriars pack extension and code just like me. I should probably put this over here where you can see it. Code just like me, typos included. Here's that, and we'll do, hey, at Salesforce devs, check out the CodeFriars pack. CodeFriars, yeah, okay, we'll leave it that way. There we go, and I've tweeted it, so you can be able to find that. And yeah, all right, I like that. Drew has posted the link to the specific one. We've got 2 minutes left for questions, and I'm happy to take any questions you have, including snide remarks. If you want to give me a hard time about anything, feel free to hit me up with that. But until then, let's see. What else would I want to do to show this off? I don't remember. All right. So we've built a new extension pack. We've populated it. We've pushed it. And now we're able to install it. I like it. I like it a lot. And we've tweeted about it, so the whole world can learn. Orlando just joined. So I'm glad to see you joined. And yeah, I love it. I love it. Can you go over the log analyzer? I can. When you have logs, and let's see, do I have any logs open here? Let's do this. Let's pull some logs. Get Apex debug logs. I don't have any Apex debug logs. Okay, let me do this, and we'll do select. We'll do system debug. Hello world. All right, and I'm going to execute this anonymous. Okay. And now that it's executed that, I should be able to pull debug, get Apex debug logs, turn on the Apex debug logs, then I'll do it. Okay. We'll do execute anonymous with editor contents. Now we'll pull logs, or get logs. There's our log file. So here's our big log file full of fun goodness. Now if we right click on this and we log analyzer, load Apex logs for analysis. We're going to choose that one, and it'll kick us over to this log analyzer. But with that, it is exactly 2 o'clock, and I've got somebody right after me, so I have to duck off. I'll see you again. Feel free to hit me up with questions, comments, sign remarks on the Twitters as well. Thank you much. Bye.